Hey everyone, welcome back to another video, and today we're going to be covering the brand new patch notes 1.0.3 for Anthem. I'm going to try not to make this a really long video because there's a lot of patch notes, so we're just going to jump right into it. So at high level changes, what they changed is respawn timers are now based on the activity the player is in, i.e. critical path, ancient missions, or non-endgame missions. Your respawn timer will be 10 seconds, and then in strongholds, legendary contracts, and endgame missions, your respawn timer will be 30 seconds, and the respawn timer in free play will be unchanged. So this is to kind of fix, I talked about in my other video, is the fact when you go down, you just sit there forever, because no one notices that you're down. The next thing is the loot changes. We've talked about they're removing whites and greens from level 30 play. They improved stability on all platforms. Audio improvements. They fixed the audio cutout bug. Okay. On to general fixes. Fixed a number of issues that were blocking players from accessing the Forge. All missions should now properly end. The inbox now properly displays information on PC. Fixed an issue that would cause players to be unable to interact with NPCs in Fort Tarsis. The vault is no longer accessible from the Forge. This change was made to improve performance. Fixed an issue that would crash the game to hang when entering menus while on expedition. I've definitely had that a few times, and that is not fun. Titans will no longer respawn on mission after they are defeated. Example, if player 2 defeats 2 Titans and then wipes on the third, 2 Titans will not spawn. So, okay, so that pretty much nerfs the legendary contract farming. If you didn't know about it, it's pretty much you just like kill 2 Titans and then you just get wiped, respawn the mission, and it would force spawn all 3 of them, and you just farm them over and over. You can do that with any mission on like any boss. Server shutdown messages now appear less often. The ability to quick play in strongholds has been added. We talked about that in my last video. Mouse button 4 is no longer bound to the back button for PCs. I know for some players that was an issue depending on what type of mouse you have. That was not an issue for me. Crashes that occurred while selecting a certain conversation options when interacting with NPCs have been fixed. Players should no longer get stuck at the end of the 2 General Tarsis mission. Players should now run into less issues during quick play missions. So I hit on this one in my last video as well, is as we've all known, you go into quick play missions and you just get tossed into a game that is bugged. Hopefully they have fixed that with this next patch that's coming out here in like 3 hours. So fingers crossed. Players should no longer get stuck behind fog walls on missions or in strongholds as often. There was one time I was doing the mine and I went AFK for like 30 seconds and the door closed on me before the boss fight, and it didn't pull me in for whatever reason, and I just sat there. Players should now receive credit for their Be Giants challenge where they are downed and when the event is active, which is nice. I know some people weren't getting their rewards whenever they died. Improve the audio of defeating creatures to provide better feedback, so we'll have to listen to see what that sounds like. Change the wording for server shutdown. Players may now launch the expedition from anywhere within the launch bay and Fort Tarsis. I covered that in my last video. PS4 LED lights will now change based on the javelins being used. That's pretty cool. I'm assuming that means the LED lights on the back of the controller. That's actually pretty cool. It should now be harder for players to get stun locked by certain enemy compositions. So I think the patch notes goes more into detail about this later, but that's talking about the force mod, or the Inception, little inscription, not Inception, the force inscription. They did a little bit of rework into that. The values of max flight time inscriptions have been increased. The appearance of the 9/7 vinyl and the Legion of Dawn armor has been improved. Halleck will now properly face players during certain dialogues. The message, open the Cortex to track the Legionnaire challenges, will no longer pop up after completing appropriate challenges. I definitely had that pop up a whole bunch of times, and I think it was a free play. Strongholds. They fixed an issue that would cause players to get stuck at the entrance of the sewers, to the Temple of Scar. Okay. So this is a creature update. So for Titans, they have made several balance changes to all variations of Titans, reduce the overall damage mitigation from 100% to between 70% and 75%, depending on the damage type, which is nice. So now they're not full-on tanks and just immune to everything. Increase the time that the weak points are exposed, which is also nice. Fixing issues to prevent the effects from applying and thus preventing combos. Increase the damage the Titan takes from weak points. And then lesser Titan weak points have been changed to always be active. So pretty much lesser Titans are about to get shredded. We are about to destroy these little guys. Improve the collision on the ring and seek and projectile attacks. This should make them easier to dodge. So yeah, hopefully the hitbox on those things are smaller now, because it definitely felt like those things would hit you even though they were like nowhere near you. Decrease the radius of the seek and projectile attack and decrease the damage done by the self-destructibility. So it looks like the Titans overall just got a nerf, so they're about to get shit on pretty much. Frozen Scar Enforcers and Scrappers can no longer move and attack while frozen. I've seen that like a couple times. The Monitor's health has been greatly reduced in the Harder Rage Stronghold, which is great because that dude had way too much health, which is one reason why no one ran that mission, because it's already scripted for him to fly back and forth between areas, which is not fun. The next part covers the force I was talking about. Players will be less likely to be repeatedly staggered by heavy attacks, which definitely sucks. Like when you're fighting like the Enforcers and they just melee you or whatever, and you just start getting like juggled. It's not fun. And they adjusted the force applied by some creatures' attacks down to which will lower the frequency of players being staggered. So the same thing. So like, they're not going to use the staggering attacks as much, and they're not going to stagger as much. So this next one covers the damage and item scaling, which I briefly covered in my last video, where they're going to rescale all the items and abilities to be stronger. So just everything in the game is getting a buff. So they adjusted the damage scaling of secondary damage sources. These now scale with the average item power. This will allow these damage sources to better scale in the Grandmaster difficulties. And what it increased is melee damage increased, combo damage increased, ultimate damage increased, status effect damage increased, and then item procs like Venus Thunder from the Marksman Rifle. So all of that just had a power increase. Item power scaling is changed to better reflect the actual power of the item based on its rarity. This is applied to all items retroactively. Players will see the powers of their items go up. So pretty much whatever you currently have this will apply. So you don't have to worry about this coming out and then all your current stuff not getting these buffs. Everything in your inventory will get these buffs, so you won't have to refarm for something. These gameplay bug fixes. The ultimate bar no longer appears full at the start of a mission. That's always nice. Weapon recoil will now stop once an exo is looking straight up. Not 100% sure what that means. I guess if you look like exo is like an exo suit like us. I'll have to look into that one. Fix a number of animation issues. It should no longer be possible for the Interceptor to become frozen while starting up their ultimate. Interceptor aura damage will now deal the correct type of damage based on the active aura. Players can no longer equip abilities from one javelin to another. That was definitely a bug going around. People were doing some wacky ass shit. The Colossus can now use gear faster after being attacked from a heavy hit from enemies. The Colossus can now shield charge through destructible objects such as explosive canisters and harvest nodes. The Colossus now recovers faster after crashing into walls. So my last video, I was talking about the landing lag being decreased. I think I said for all javelins, and I might need to correct myself here, and I think this is just for the Colossus, from the looks of what these patch notes are saying, because those last three were for the Colossus only. So we'll have to keep an eye out for that one. Item balance update. Okay, so they increased the base health of Windwall and Bulwark Point to provide better scaling to higher difficulties, which I've talked about. And then the timing is the duration now 20 seconds instead of 1 full minute. Burst Mortar's damage has been increased to 300 from 145, and its cooldown has been reduced to 6 seconds from 10 seconds. Its description's also been fixed, so this might make Burst Mortar a lot more effective, which would be nice. Flat Cannon's damage has been increased to 42 from 30. I'm not sure that will really incline me to use that still. Battlecry's description has been updated to explain that it also reduces the resistance of effective enemies. That would have been nice to know a long fucking time ago, but you best believe I'm gonna start using Battlecry now instead of the shield, because if we can make the enemies weaker, that's it, boy, that's it. Wraith Strike damage has been increased to 250 up from 200 and will now apply elemental effect to target based on the active aura. I haven't played that javelin, so hopefully that sounds dope. Item bug fixes. Wind walls no longer block or interfere other players' abilities. The Ranger Grenadier component will now correctly lower the cooldown of grenade abilities, fix an issue where certain weapons were not firing where the crosshairs were aimed. I don't think I ran into that. That would fucking suck. The Ice Blast ability of the Storm Javelin now has a primer icon correctly displayed. Okay, so I guess the Ice Blast is a primer now. Inscription bugs. The thruster delay recovery inscriptions now correctly apply a bonus. The overheat delay apply a bonus, and the weapon reload apply a bonus. I guess they weren't applying bonuses before. So this is the Masterwork item rebalance. Increase the base damage of the following Masterwork weapons: Ralnir's Blaze, Rolling Carnage, the Cycle of Pain, the Last Stand, Glorious Result, Insult and Injury, Sentinel Vengeance, Nostra's Balm, Vasa's Surprise, Soothing Touch, Renewed Courage, and Artina's Gambit have all had damage increases. Also, Rainer's Blaze will no longer roll with incorrect inscriptions. Ablative Shielding now appears the proper boost in shield and armor. Badge of Devastation will now generate more ultimate charge when triggered, and it should no longer be possible to stack the effects from Gunslinger's Mark more than once. And that's all the patch notes for 1.0.3. I'm definitely gonna just end it here because this video's super long. But yeah, once again, these patch notes go live here in about 2.5-3 hours. So depending on when you're watching this, whether it's after the patch notes go live or during, I'm not sure if they're going to take down the servers, if it's going to be just like a hot fix. Probably going to take down the servers, let's be honest. It seems like a huge patch. But yeah, so definitely hit the like button, hit subscribe. Let me know in the comments below what your favorite javelin is, or whatever you think of these patch notes. Think this game sucks, think this game's amazing. Let me know, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.